So if there are no questions, then we'll be happy to continue. And Anders Niestedt from the Grönlandsplatz company joined us now. Like I said in the introduction, I'm very thankful that Anders took the time to join us today. I know that all people working in SMEs are very busy with the day-to-day business and cannot afford to spend 5 hours every day in Zoom meetings. But I really liked a lot what Anders told us in 2019 when we visited the company and when he reported about this business transfer. So we're thankful that you have the time to come back and give us some information from the practical point of view, how the business transfer went in Grönlandsplatz in your company. So Anders, the floor is yours. I think you can share your screen.
Thank you. I'll try this sharing. Let's see. Okay. Okay, I need to log out and log in again. So just a minute.
No worries. So while Anders is doing the relog, I would just like to, there he is.
Are we live?
Yes, we can see your presentation.
Perfect. Like this? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you for having me. I love telling this story because it warms my heart, really. I promise this is the only thing in Swedish in this presentation. It says Grönlands from sheet metal to finished product since 1873. And I'm just going to start by a brief introduction to Grönlands, what it is. And to summarize, it's with quality, customer service, and sustainability as guiding lines, Grönlands will be the top producer of finished sheet metal products. That's kind of our vision for the company. Our key competencies are manufacturing in sheet metal up to 6 millimeters. So we make enclosures, cabinets, furnitures, ventilation units, you name it, really. It all depends on what the customer wants. We're purely a subcontractor, so the products are not our own, and we see ourselves as a service provider of production, really. In numbers, our turnover is around 60 million Swedish crowns, about 6 million euros. We have 50 employees, 9,000 square meters of a facility, and we are, of course, certified in quality and environment. Our key goal is annual organic growth of about 10% per year. So that's kind of a short version of Grönlands. We have a long history. Me and my brother are actually the fifth generation running Grönlandsplåt. It started in 1873 with a company doing roofings and manual construction on buildings. In the 40s, we turned to Saab automobiles to make gas tanks. And that kind of started the transformation from roofings to more industrial manufacturing. So in the 80s, we turned into a purely industrial manufacturing company. And as of the 2000s, we are a supplier of finished sheet metal products. So with almost 150 years on the company's back, you would think that we had tons of pressure to actually take over the company, which we actually did not. I'm going to get into this. First of all, growing up in a family with a family business, I kind of only have that as a reference for growing up. So that's the normal life for me and my brother. So as kids, it was the natural way of living. Both our mom and our dad worked full time at Grönlands and have done so as far as I remember. They were always kind of working and not working. They were in their private life and working environment were completely borderless, really. And so that's the kind of work that me and my brother saw as normal, of course, a purely natural part of life. And a key part when we were kids, I think, was that we felt we never spoke in the terms of when you grow up and you will take over this company, you will do this and you will do that. Our parents never said a single word about us being the natural successor for the company. Of course, we were aware of the long history in our family of the company, so I guess we had it in the back of our minds that it's a possibility, but our parents never put any pressure on us as kids, and that kind of sentiment actually continued through our upbringing. So when we had to pick an education, they only said that it's good with a wide education so that you can pick later in life. If you don't have a specific interest, pick a wide education so that you get educated. And of course, I did not. I chose digital media design, which is not wide at all. I later turned that education around to business, actually, because I had my parents' words in the back of my head that a wide education is good if my special interest is not working out. So there's kind of a theme here. No pressure. I actually had a time in my life when I tried to be a professional musician, and they supported it. They never said a word that it's not a real job, which it of course is. So as young adults in our teens, we started. We wanted a summer job for the summer vacation, and kind of out of convenience, we chose to work at the family plant or at the company. So we had summer jobs here. It was very important to my parents that they were not our bosses. We were kind of the lowest ranking persons in the company. So I actually have people working for me now that used to boss me around. We joke about that a lot. It's quite fun. At this time in life, we also started attending board meetings in the company. We, as passive members of the board. So just that we got the motivation was that we got to feel how it is to run a company in general, and what kind of problems or opportunities you get placed in front of. And with that, we started to learn more and more about the company from working there and from being a passive part of the board. And we still felt no pressure at all. After our high school education, we both me and my brother chose to study in Uppsala and in Örebro, which is quite far away from Skara. And after that, we both moved to Stockholm to pursue our own career, completely not related to our family business. I worked at the Swedish, the largest real estate website in Sweden called Hemnet for 4 years. So the actual shift kind of started our time in Stockholm. We became a official part of the board as family members. The board was really important part for us. We wanted to have real board meetings, not just a family dinner. So my parents chose to have an external chairman early on. We had an external chairman all the way from the 90s. So that was a really important part of having real board meetings, and for us to get a feeling of running a business. So we pursued our own careers parallel to actually attending 4 board meetings a year. So we were kind of up to date on what happened back home in Skara. And then kind of an important part of this journey was the question, actually. We were in our mid-20s. Both were married, had our first kids. And the question came from our parents. They were in their late 50s and said that by the time we are 60, we just want to know if you're interested in running the company or not. So they set kind of a deadline, because they had in mind that if we don't want to, they have to prepare for selling the company. So they set the deadline at their 60th birthday, because then they had kind of 5 years to prepare a sell-off if we did not want to. It took me and my brother a lunch. We actually had a few years to decide, but it took me and my brother a lunch of 30 minutes to decide to, yeah, we want to do this, and we want to do it together. It was, in our minds, an opportunity that so few people actually get, that we couldn't turn it down. And both of us were kind of tired of big city living and wanting a small place for our growing families. And that's kind of the next part of this journey. It was moving back to Skara. And we were both married, and a key part of moving back and for this to be a success, which I believe a lot of people forget about, are the spouses. They had to also live with our decision. So what we did was that, okay, we want to do this, but our absolute first priority before we can do it is that our spouses find a job that they find exciting in the region of Skara. Because of course, in their careers, there's a lot more career opportunities in Stockholm than there are in Skara. It's a big difference. So after about half a year, they actually both our wives found jobs that they really wanted. So that was kind of the key trigger for us to move back. So we loaded our trucks and moved back to Skara from Stockholm, which is a 2 million city, to Skara, which has 12,000. It's a big difference, but it's a place we know well. And so we started in the company in 2013. And we started, my brother started as a salesman or in the sales department, and I started in the economics department. Basically, my mom's department were the economic department, and my dad's were the sales department. And we started this long-term shift. The shift from our parents to us took about 4 years, just gradually taking over responsibilities as we grew. And I think that's also a key part of having a successful generational shift. About 3-4 years ago, our parents stopped working and entered retirement. and they are very happy about that, and they still attend the board meetings, and they know what's happening. But also a key part is that they do not run the company. They do not run the company. We do. And I guess I have my parents to thank for a successful generational shift. So a few key takeaways for a family business: no pressure on the kids, no pressure. Let the kids fly and try their thing, because I think that's one of the most important parts for us feeling comfortable having made this decision for ourselves. Have an external chairman, external people also involved in the company, so that it gets more professional, and no in family fighting. Set a deadline for when you want an answer, as our parents did. Don't forget the spouses, what they want to do, because this is something that affects the whole family. And take your time. You need to take your time. This is not a shift. A shift like this is not going to work in 6 months. It takes years. That's what I think. So if you're ever in Skara, welcome to Grönlands.
Thank you very much, Anders. Very interesting presentation, and it's very nice to learn from your history. And I must admit, I've read dozens of studies, documents about business transfers in the last 4 years, but never I saw somebody mentioning spouses. And I think it's a very valid point. And of course, you have a responsibility. And if it clashes with your private life because your spouse is not happy with that decision, it's very risky for the company. So it's a very good point. And actually, we will take it up in our strategy program that we will publish very soon. I think it's very nice, very good. Are there any questions to Anders? There's a question on the tablet, on the Padlet. I see. Let me see if I can share that. So that's one point. I don't know if you have kids, but if you have kids, would it be important for you that your kids continue the company so that it stays in the family? I believe you would not make pressure, but would it be important for you?
No, the most important part for me is that they are happy and that they pursue a career that they are happy with. Their happiness and their success in life is very much more important than the success or the succession of the company.
Yes, very good point. And but of course, if it's a company that is so old, 1873, you would like to keep it running in the family if it's possible, I believe. But happiness is more important, no doubt.
Yeah, if that makes our kids happy, I would love that, of course.
Any questions or comments from somebody else? No, I checked the pedal again. No.
I would like to ask a question. Mr. Anders, are your kids still visiting board meetings?
No, they are not old enough yet. They are actually 5 and 9, so not yet.
Well, could be a very creative input.
Yeah.
Board meetings. Okay, so Anders, thank you so much. It's really a best practice example that you showed us with a very wise parents as well. They did everything right, I guess. And thank you so much for your time. Okay.
Thank you for listening. Thank you.
There's another hand.
Okay.
Risen. Lucina?
Yes, please.
Yes, I think that was extremely interesting. We have a lot of exchanges with family business owners that are raising concerns about how to convince children to take over the company, how difficult it is, how children are getting resistant to take over company when seeing parents working all the time. many different reasons. And I think that what you have presented as a history of your family is extremely good example of how it can be done successfully if everybody has a proper objective in mind, like making a company successful, but making also the kids' life as successful, and then give them the time for considerations, and decision will be made. If it's done with a proper timeline, then nothing will be lost. Because if your parents would see that you are not at the point to take over the company, they will still have time to sell it successfully. If that was a successful company, would find a buyer. So I think that this is extremely interesting and very good example to publicize, to make a family business succession successful. I can't agree more with the approach your parents and you and your brother took when addressing this issue. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, I think one of the most important parts is that the decision has to come from the younger generation. It has to come from the younger generation, because if the decision comes from the older generation, it's not going to be successful. I'm not going to feel that I have chosen a path of my own, which I do feel now, which I very much feel. This was my decision, no one else's.
So I think you cannot force somebody to become a successor in the family business. Too much pressure wouldn't work, but some do. And really very nice presentation. Thank you, Anders. Somebody else? No. Then